There's a quiet revolution happening in the world of health, and millions of people are discovering it almost by accident. Fasting, one of the oldest practices in human history, is making a serious comeback, and for good reason. But along with its rise in popularity comes a flood of confusion, fear, and flat-out wrong information. Today, we're going to cut through all of that noise and talk about what fasting actually is, why it works, and how long you should be doing it based on your specific goals. Let's start at the very beginning. Every single time you eat a meal, your body does something remarkable. It takes in energy, uses what it needs right now, and stores the rest for later. Think of it like loading up a pantry. Some of that stored energy sits as carbohydrates, but the vast majority gets tucked away as fat, the body's most efficient, most energy-dense form of storage. The key player in all of this is a hormone called insulin. Insulin is essentially the gatekeeper that signals your body to move nutrients into cells and begin the storing process. Now here's where it gets interesting. If eating fills the pantry, then not eating empties it. When you stop eating, insulin levels drop and your body shifts gears from storing fat to burning it. This isn't some extreme biohack or dangerous experiment. It is, quite literally, the most natural metabolic process your body knows how to do. For the overwhelming majority of human history, this cycle of storing and burning happened automatically, without anyone thinking twice about it. Consider how our ancient ancestors lived. Hunter-gatherers didn't have supermarkets or meal prep containers in the fridge. On days when food was scarce, they simply didn't eat. On good days, maybe 1 or 2 meals. There were no alarms reminding them to snack every 2 hours. And yet, they survived, they thrived, and their bodies functioned extraordinarily well. Fast forward to recorded human history, right up until just a few decades ago, and most people still ate 2 to 3 times a day at most. 3 meals was actually considered a luxury that not everyone could afford. Then something shifted. Over the last 40 years, a new idea crept into mainstream culture, that 3 meals a day simply wasn't enough. Snacks became necessary. Eating every 2 to 3 hours became the advice handed out in wellness circles. And layered on top of that came the explosion of sugary drinks, processed foods, and those now famous coffee shop beverages that are really just sugar in a cup with a fancy name. 2 dramatic changes happened simultaneously. Eating frequency went up and food quality went down. And shortly after, rates of obesity and metabolic disease began climbing in ways that were genuinely alarming. Here's the irony that often gets overlooked. People are shocked by fasting. They treat it as something radical or dangerous. But nobody bats an eye at the idea of eating constantly from morning until night with barely a break. We've somehow normalized never letting the pantry empty. We've turned the exception into the rule and the rule into the exception. The concept of breakfast being the most important meal of the day sounds wise and ancient, but really it just became a cultural habit, and a very profitable one for food companies that sell morning cereals and pastries. Here's a simple way to understand fasting that removes all the fear around it. If you sleep at night, which most people do, you're already fasting. 8 hours of sleep alone gives you a meaningful fasting window. If you have dinner at 7 in the evening and don't eat until 7 the next morning, that's 12 hours. Push dinner a little earlier or breakfast a little later, and you're looking at 14 hours without even trying. This natural rhythm was how human metabolism stayed balanced across generations. The 12 to 14-hour overnight fast was, for most of history, simply called nighttime. When people talk about more intentional fasting, like skipping breakfast and eating between noon and 8 in the evening, they're describing a 16-hour fast. That's the popular 16 to 8 approach. And what most people discover, often to their own surprise, is that it's far easier than they expected. The hunger they imagined would be unbearable simply doesn't show up the way they feared. In fact, many people report feeling more mentally clear, more focused, and more energized during the morning hours than they ever did when they were eating breakfast. To understand why fasting is so powerful for body composition, picture a simple graph. Above the line is fat storing mode. Below the line is fat burning mode. When most people eat 3 meals plus snacks, especially meals loaded with refined carbohydrates and sugar, they spend almost their entire waking day above that line. Their body is constantly storing. Even during sleep, the first several hours are spent processing the food eaten earlier. Only in the early morning hours, when it's almost time to eat again anyway, does the body briefly dip into fat-burning territory. Now shift that picture. Pull eating into a shorter window. 2 meals instead of 3, no snacking, no sugary drinks between meals. Suddenly, the fat-burning hours multiply. Your body gets the time it needs to actually access stored energy rather than constantly cycling new fuel through the system. This is the metabolic reset that so many people talk about when they say fasting changed how they feel. It's not magic, it's simply giving your body the time it was always designed to need. According to Dr. Ashley Monroe, the length of your fasting window should be matched to your individual goals and current metabolic health. For most people, and we're talking roughly 60 to 80%, a fasting window somewhere between 16 and 18 hours produces solid, consistent results. If your weight responds reasonably well and you're not dealing with significant insulin resistance, this range is genuinely enough to create meaningful change when done consistently over time. But what about stubborn weight? What about people who've been doing everything right and still aren't moving the needle? This is where longer fasting periods enter the conversation. 1 meal a day, often called OMAD, extends the fasting window to roughly 22 to 23 hours. For people with more significant metabolic challenges, this approach can be the breakthrough that a 16-hour fast simply couldn't deliver. The reasoning is straightforward. More stubborn weight generally correlates with more stubborn insulin levels, and longer fasts drive insulin lower for longer. Longer fasts, think 42 to 48 hours, are less about daily routine and more about periodic resets. Here's how accessible they actually are. Eat dinner one evening, skip all of the next day, go to sleep, skip breakfast the following morning, and you've reached 36 hours. Stay until lunch and you're at 42. Have dinner that evening instead of lunch and you've done a full 48-hour fast. 2 nights of sleep are included in that window, which makes the whole thing far more manageable than it sounds on paper. The key during extended fasts is staying well hydrated and making sure you're replacing electrolytes and minerals, since your body will be flushing more of those than usual. Beyond weight loss and insulin sensitivity, there's another dimension of fasting that researchers find increasingly compelling: autophagy. The word literally means self-eating, which sounds alarming, but is actually one of the most sophisticated repair mechanisms your body has. During extended fasting, once the body has been burning fat for fuel for a sustained period, it begins to get very conservative with protein. Rather than breaking down muscle, which it actively wants to preserve, the body ramps up its internal recycling operation. It sends cleanup crews throughout your tissues looking for damaged cells, cellular debris, old proteins, and even pathogens like bacteria and viruses. The implications of autophagy extend well beyond weight. Researchers have noted connections between fasting-induced autophagy and improvements in inflammatory conditions, autoimmune challenges, and even neurological repair. The brain and nervous system have notoriously limited self-repair mechanisms under normal circumstances, and autophagy appears to be one of the few processes that meaningfully enhances their ability to clean up and recover, including after head injuries. There's also early-stage research exploring the relationship between fasting, autophagy, and certain cancer pathways, though this area remains an active field of study rather than settled medicine. For people who have already reached their weight goals and are fasting primarily for longevity and disease prevention, the strategy looks different. A daily window somewhere between 16 hours and one meal a day forms the baseline. Layered on top of that, doing a 42-hour fast once or twice a month can significantly amplify autophagy beyond what the daily routine produces. And for those who want to go deeper still, perhaps once every few months, a 3 to 4 day extended fast is where many researchers believe the most profound cellular renewal takes place. You go as long as you feel genuinely well, clear-headed, reasonably energetic, comfortable. The moment that stops being true, you eat. The bottom line is this: fasting is not a trend, it's not a fad, and it's certainly not dangerous for most healthy people. It's a return to the metabolic rhythm that human biology was built around. The only truly strange thing is how far we drifted from it, and how quickly things can start to shift when we find our way back.